The War of the Roses was a brutal, blood-soaked saga of betrayal, power, and madness, a real-life Game of Thrones that shaped the course of English history. Immerse yourself in a time when two rival branches of the same family plunged a nation into chaos, fighting ruthlessly for the crown. The stage is set in 15th century England, a land rife with turmoil and ambition. At the heart of this deadly feud were two powerful houses, the Lancasters and the Yorks. Both were descendants of the Plantagenet family, and their thirst for power would ignite one of the most infamous civil wars in history. As the century dawned, England was a place of great disparity. Nobles wielded significant power, the monarchy was unsteady, and the people lived in the shadow of a weakening king. Henry VI, a man more suited to prayer than politics, sat upon the throne. His reign was plagued by mental instability, making him a pawn in the hands of ambitious nobles. The seeds of conflict were sown in 1399 when Henry Bolingbroke deposed his cousin, King Richard II, and crowned himself Henry IV. This act planted doubts about the legitimacy of the Lancastrian claim to the throne. Fast forward to 1453, and England was still reeling from its defeat in the 100 Years' War, leaving the country drained, both financially and emotionally. The timing was ripe for dissent. Amidst this backdrop, power struggles simmered just below the surface. Richard, the Duke of York, a man of ambition and considerable influence, believed his Yorkist lineage gave him a rightful claim to the throne. With Henry's deteriorating health, tensions boiled over. England stood on the brink of civil war. In 1455, the conflict erupted with the First Battle of St. Albans. The clash signaled the start of a bloody series of battles that would be fought across the realm. Picture it: armored knights, banners flying, swords clashing, and the cries of the fallen echoing through the ages. The Yorkists emerged victorious, but the peace would be fleeting. For the next 30 years, England's valleys and villages would become fields of battle. Families were torn apart, allegiances changed with the wind, and the quest for power consumed men entirely. This was a time when betrayal was as common as breathing, and trust was a dangerous luxury. One of the most pivotal moments arrived in 1461 at the Battle of Towton, often cited as the largest and bloodiest battle ever fought on English soil. Amidst a snowstorm, tens of thousands of men clashed in an epic confrontation, staining the ground crimson. The Yorkists claimed a decisive victory, paving the way for Edward IV to ascend the throne. But this victory was not the end. The War of the Roses would witness more twists and turns, surprise resurgences, and shocking coups. Each new twist sharpened the blade of vengeance. It became clear that neither side would rest until the other was utterly vanquished. And so, the story unfolds, a relentless dance of blood and betrayal. Nobles plotted in dimly lit chambers, armies trudged through mud and mist, and the crown perched precariously, always just one move away from slipping into the hands of another. The echoes of their battles still linger, whispering the secrets of an age where the fate of a nation hung by a thread. But the relentless quest for dominance was far from over. With Edward IV now on the throne, the Yorkists seemed poised for victory. Yet, as with all great tales of power, the threat of betrayal loomed large. Behind the scenes, even allies harbored ambitions of their own. Enter the cunning figure of Richard Neville, the Earl of Warwick, known to history as the Kingmaker. Initially a staunch supporter of Edward, Warwick's ambitions soon outgrew his loyalties. Feeling sidelined by Edward's marriage to Elizabeth Woodville, an alliance with profound political implications, Warwick switched sides, determined to mold the kingdom in his vision. In 1470, Warwick's defection prompted a shocking twist. He allied with the Lancaster faction and played a crucial role in briefly restoring Henry VI to the throne. This dramatic reversal underscored the precariousness of power and the ever-changing alliances that defined the era. Edward was forced into exile, only to return, emboldened and determined to reclaim his throne. The showdown came the following year at the battles of Barnet and Tewkesbury. In a whirlwind of strategy and bloodshed, Edward crushed the Lancastrian opposition. Warwick met his end at Barnet, and the Lancaster line was further weakened at Tewkesbury. It was a time when life and death balanced on the sharp edge of a sword, and fortunes shifted in the blink of an eye. With the death of the Lancastrian heir, Edward of Westminster, son of Henry VI, the Lancastrian cause suffered a fatal blow. Edward IV emerged stronger, his claims cemented by these decisive victories. It could have marked the end of the civil unrest had history taken a different path. Edward's reign brought a semblance of stability, but it was a fragile peace. When Edward died suddenly in 1483, the nation again found itself on the brink of chaos. Edward's two sons, the young princes, were meant to inherit the throne. But power's gravitational pull was irresistible, and dark shadows gathered in the form of Richard, Duke of Gloucester, the boy's uncle. Seizing the moment, Richard declared the young Edward V illegitimate and swept aside any obstacles to his ambition. He claimed the crown for himself and became Richard III. The young princes disappeared within the Tower of London, and their fate remains one of history's chilling mysteries. Richard III's usurpation sparked outrage and rebellion. Discontented factions quickly found a leader in Henry Tudor, a Lancastrian relative who had been in exile. In 1485, the final act of this bloody drama unfolded at the Battle of Bosworth Field. On a fog-drenched morning, Henry Tudor confronted Richard's forces, vying to end decades of war and strife. Richard fought with fierce determination, but at Bosworth, the tumultuous reign of Richard III met its end. He fell in battle, and with his death, the Yorkist hold on the throne shattered. Henry Tudor emerged victorious, cementing his claim by marrying Elizabeth of York, uniting the warring factions and ushering in the Tudor dynasty. This marriage did more than consolidate power. It symbolized the healing of a nation scarred by conflict. The war-wearied land found solace in this new era, and with it, a hope for peace and renewal. The red rose of Lancaster and the white rose of York entwined to form the Tudor rose, a new emblem of unity. The War of the Roses, with its sweeping battles and intricate intrigues, stands as a testament to the lengths to which men will go in their quest for power. It was a time when the personal was intensely political, and every move could alter history's course. Yet, from its ashes rose a dynasty that would shape England's future, echoing through time with dramatic tales of love, betrayal, and redemption. In the end, the real Game of Thrones was not just about the struggle for a crown. It was about the human capacity for both destruction and transformation. A dance of human ambition that, despite its grim landscape, forged a path toward new beginnings. Through whispers of the past, the War of the Roses reminds us that even amid darkness, there is room for healing, and the seeds of hope can sprout in the most unlikely of places.